All right, I'm going to have to break out my announcer voice for this one, so get ready. Breaking One Piece news, everybody! I have acquired not one, but 2 Chopper plushies. Oh, God! I was in Vegas last week and we went to an arcade, and the arcade had nothing but claw machines, and I only had 2 tokens, and I won back-to-back Tony Choppers. I don't need this many choppers. This one's dressed like Law for some reason. It's very adorable, but what am I gonna do with these choppers? Okay, so here's the deal. Today I was going to make a video about the God Valley flashback, all right? Still going to probably do that at some point where I was going to discuss, like, the end of the flashback, like how we were going to wrap all this up. So at the beginning of the video, I was going to do an introduction where I was going to go over the One Piece news we've learned in the last couple of days, because there was like a One Piece press conference, bunch of information about the anime dropped, and about like the live action. We got additional information about the live action dropping all over the place. And as I was writing everything down, I'm pretty much like, you know what, this is enough for just a video in its own right. So let's just do this. One Piece press conference. Do. What do you think, Law Chopper? Indeed. All right, so let's begin with the biggest piece of One Piece news, not Chopper-related. Sorry, there is some Chopper-related news, but it's just not the most important news. The One Piece anime is going seasonal. What? I actually think this is a really good decision, like, personally. So, I don't know about you, but it has been a situation with the anime where, you know, a couple of episodes will come out really good about, like, the canon of the manga. Like, we're at Egghead right now, Luffy fighting Kizaru, and then the Gorosei showing up, and then the giants arriving, and that's all really cool and everything like that. But then we'll get, like, a lot of those recap episodes, like, here's Carrot and Chopper. In case you forgot about Eustace Captain Kidd, we're gonna do a whole video on him. You know, a whole episode focused on other stuff, right? In case you forgot how Kizaru is Kizaru, here's a entire episode on Kizaru. And it's like, yeah, I was always kind of thinking, like, something eventually had to give about this, especially since, you know, the anime went on hiatus this year and everything like that. So from here on out, we're only gonna get about 26 episodes a year, which I'm perfectly fine with that if those 26 episodes are actually just the direct adaptations from the manga. There's no recap episodes. There's no episodes of, like, massive amounts of filler. It's just, and I think it's going to be broken up it's seasonal, so it's going to be broken up into, like, 2 cores a year kind of a thing, right? Like most anime do. So, like, 13 episodes for one core, and then a break, and then 13 more episodes, and then a break, and then the following year. Honestly, I'm fine with this. I'm perfectly okay with this. As long as every episode from here on out follows the canon of the manga, I'm good. All right, I think that's a perfectly good decision. I'm honestly surprised it took this long, you know, because there was some situations, and I understand, like, this is not like a decision that they're going to make lightly, to just all of a sudden change the entire structure of this anime that has been running since, like, I think 1999 is when the anime first aired, right? You know, but you think back to, like, Dressrosa, which had a lot of filler. Oh, there's a lot of filler there, and then all the recap stuff and everything like that. So this was a big decision. A lot of people were, like, blown away by it. I was too, honestly. I mean, I was surprised that they finally made this decision, but I think it is a good decision, all things considered. The next big piece of information, along with that, we also got information with the Elbaph Arc. So we got this, like, teaser poster here of Luffy walking in the snow amidst the footprints of giants, and Luffy's in his Elbaph outfit with his axe and everything. And along with that, we also got the concept art for the Straw Hats in the upcoming anime arc of Elbaph with their new outfits. We have Luffy's design. We got Zoro's design. We have Sanji, who honestly might be my favorite. It's definitely up there. It's either him or Frankie, although I really like Jinbei's too with the giant belt buckle. But Sanji dressed up as, like, the medieval knight, you know, as, like, an action figure of a medieval knight is really cool. I really like that design for Sanji. Nami Body looks incredible as always. We have Usopp with his fake beard. I don't know why I assumed the beard was going to be gray. It's not. I don't know why I assumed that, but I just did, I guess. We have Chopper's design. We got Robin's design. We have Frankie's design with the really long beard. We got Brooke's design, and then we have Jinbei's. So, which is your favorite character concept, like outfit in the manga that's now going to be in the anime? But I would probably say Sanji, Frankie, or Jinbei. Honestly, I think Sanji or Jinbei is going to clinch it for me personally, but it was really cool seeing them in those outfits. Speaking of Elbaph, Volume 113 of One Piece is going to be releasing very soon, I think officially on November 4th in Japan, and the SBS is going to come out soon, so that'll be a big video. I think we're going to get a lot of information and lore in this one. I don't know, there's nothing that's indicating that or anything like that. I'm just feeling a vibe off of this SBS. It might be, one of the most light SBSs we've ever gotten, but I feel like some big information is going to drop with this SBS. I think just because it's coinciding with God Valley, there's probably a lot of questions people have been sending Oda. But we also have the cover art for it, which reveals a few things. We have the God's Knights on there. We got Luffy and everybody. We got Scopper Giabon. The biggest thing here, though, is that Gunko has blue hair. So anybody that bet on Gunko having blue hair, congratulations, you win the pot. I've seen her with blonde hair. I've seen her with pink hair. And we went with blue. And also her eyes. One eye is red and one eye is blue. So there we go. Gunko was clearly a big fan of Pokemon Red and Blue version, but she liked Blue version just a little bit more, So that's whatever. Go catch yourself an Ekans, Gunko. That's fantastic. Actually, I can't remember. Was Ekans in red or blue? Or it was in both? I don't remember. We also have Shamrock, Killingham, and Summers on the cover as well, so we get their color schemes. Nothing really ridiculous with those ones. We see Shamrock and Killingham. They lined up pretty much as I figured they would. For whatever reason, also, I thought Summers was going to have gray hair. I don't know why, but no, he has a luxurious mane of orange hair because, he does still age, like all the God's Knights do. They still age except for Gunko. She's the weird one. But yeah, because we see him back at God Valley and he's much younger, and here he is as like an older man, so I just assumed he'd have gray hair. But anyway, yeah, Volume 113 coming out soon. Elbaph character concept art is out, and then also One Piece is going seasonal for 2026. So there's your Elbaph news. Moving on to unrelated news about Elbaph, but actually kind of, because it involves Little Garden. One Piece Netflix live action season 2, Enter the Grand Line. We have a release date finally for this shit. March 10th. 2026 is when Luffy and his merry crew on the Merry will be traveling into the Grand Line. And which also means I got, let's see here, November, December, January, February. I got like 5 months to finish the review series on all the other Season 1 episodes. It's funny, people have been saying that, hey, the last season came out in 2023. This one's coming out in 2026. Although Season 3, I think, is being filmed concurrently with this because Season 3 was announced along with Season 2. So Season 3 is probably going to air very shortly after Season 2 there. But people have been saying, oh, man, it took 3 years. The actors are going to be older and older by the time we finally get to, Marineford or Wano. There's a little bit of a running gag of that going on. Meanwhile, I'm just like, man, I still got to get those 2 episodes done for the Arlong Park arc. But I'll get there. I got 5 months. I got 5 months. What? March 9th. It'll be the day before. I'll be like, shit. Finally get out the last episode. There we go. I planned that because to remind you how Season 1 ended. But I'm actually really excited for the One Piece live action. I can't wait. I've been seeing some promotional photos for that. We got a lot of stuff dropped from Drum Island, okay? So, we got Luffy and Zoro and Sanji all wearing, and Usopp as well as there. We got them wearing their winter clothing for the arc. Oh, this is going to be a good one. I feel like the budget has gone up from this one. Season 2, in case you don't remember, that's going to be covering Logtown all the way to the end of Drum Island. They're not going to quite get to Alabasta yet, or maybe at the very end of the last episode, maybe we'll see them approaching Alabasta. But Season 3, like I said, was also announced. We don't know when that's going to come out, but I'm assuming they're filming it at the same time, which means that it should be out shortly after Season 2, maybe 2027. That'll be out, right? Maybe even earlier, though I have no idea. And then that's going to cover all of Alabasta, right? Like all of Alabasta is going to be that, and maybe at the end of season 3 they'll be heading to Jaya, and then we can see how that's going to go. Maybe they'll film like Jaya, Skypiea, Longring, Longland together. I don't know how exactly they're going to do it, but March 10th, 2026, that's when we're going to get it. And on top of that information, we also have some episode titles. Now, here's the thing. I remember scrolling through my news feed when these episodes were announced, and I immediately was like, oh, this is fake. This is just like, this is some fan stuff right here. No, they're real. They're real. And the more I looked at these titles, I was like, okay, you know what? I actually kind of really like these. I really like these. They're all, I guess not all, but the vast majority of them are movie-based puns. Okay? Now, you can have whatever opinion you want on this. At the end of the day, they're just the episode titles, right? Like, they don't really matter like a big deal when it comes to like the content of the episode. They're just the titles. But Oda really loves puns. We know this, okay, from reviewing the series for so long. I think you understand Oda has a particular love for the pun, all right? But also, One Piece episode titles in the anime can be extraordinarily long, right? They don't really fit maybe the format for like a Netflix original series in the West. So I understand that they would have to change them to something. You could go like the, I guess, basic route with it and just title the episodes like Alabasta, welcome to Alabasta. I guess you could just title it like that if you wanted to. But going a little clever with it, adding the puns, making them, like, memorable, I think that works. I think that really works. So the first episode of Season 2, which has been known for a while, is The Beginning and the End. And that's a reference to Log Town, prologue, epilogue, the town of the beginning and the town of the end. Okay, that's fine. We already knew that. Episode 2, Good Whale Hunting. For the Twin Capes arc with Crocus and Laboon, in reference to Good Will Hunting with Robin Williams, who, R.I.P., amazing, phenomenal actor, and Matt Damon, which I remember watching this in like middle school. They played this for us. I honestly probably should go back and watch Good Will Hunting again because it's a very good movie, and I like Matt Damon. But yeah, that's a memorable title. I like that. Then Whiskey Business, in reference to Risky Business with Tom Cruise. I never saw it. Then we have, this is a good one. This is my favorite one. This is my favorite one. I saw this at first, and I was like, oh, this is obviously fake, but I would kind of like this to be real. And then I looked it up, and I found out that this was a real thing. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Big Trouble in Little Garden. Big Trouble in Little China. John Carpenter, Kurt Russell. I just watched that like last month. It's a really good movie, all right? It's one of my favorite John Carpenter films. It's like that and Halloween. The Thing is really good, too, but, like, I love Big Trouble in Little China. I really do, okay? So, like, I see that title, and I'm like, okay, that's good. By the way, I think what they're doing with this is at the, because the Season 1 episode titles didn't really have this until the last episode, which was Girl with the Sawfish Tattoo, which I gotta be honest with you, that's the title that I remember the most from Season 1, is the Girl with the Sawfish Tattoo, which is in reference to the girl with the dragon tattoo, okay? So I'm like, they probably, I don't know if they did a survey or whatever with this, but like, that is the most memorable title from Season 1, so they probably just decided to go all in on Season 2 with this. And I'm not begrudging them for that because I kind of, like, I'm going to remember these titles, all right? Next episode, Wax On, Wax Off, in reference to The Karate Kid, the original with Pat Morita and Ralph Macchio. Then we have, now, these last 3 are all Drum Island episodes, and I wasn't really sure the order, so I put them in the order I think they're going to be in, but these ones could be mixed up a little bit. We have Dear and Loathing, in reference to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, where I got these Chopper plushies that I'm very upset about. So Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Johnny Depp's in that, based off a Hunter S. Thompson novel. Haven't seen that one, honestly. I've seen clips. I've heard a lot of things about that movie. I've never actually sat down and watched it. Then we have Reindeer Shames, probably going to be Chopper's backstory episode, so I put that one right in the middle. This is in reference to Reindeer Games with Ben Affleck, also a movie I have not seen. And then finally, Nami Dearest, which could probably be replaced with Dear and Loathing. Maybe Nami Dearest is first because Nami's going to get sick early before Drum Island, and then they get there. So maybe that one's actually the first one. But anyway, yeah, Nami Dearest in reference to Mommy Dearest, movie with Faye Dunaway. Also, haven't seen that one. So let me know on the movies that I haven't seen if they're good or worth a watch. Between Fear and Loathing, Mommy Dearest, Reindeer Games, or Risky Business, which one should I watch? I didn't even really know about Reindeer Games. I looked up the cover of it, and it looked just like an action movie, and I'm like, okay. I don't know. I mean, action movies are kind of hit or miss for me. Sometimes I'm really into them. Sometimes I'm not. I'm not really sure exactly. But those are the titles. Those are the titles for season 2. And I'm like, okay, I can vibe with that. And I'm also kind of curious where they're going to go from here. Or if they do like a different, like maybe a naming scheme for every season from now on, or if they just keep with this, like the movie references. It's kind of like Rick and Morty, because Rick and Morty does that with every single episode. Because, like, you know, the one anime reference, like the name of an anime episode that I remember, I don't know why it's this one in particular, because they're all very, very long, as most anime episode names are long. The episode where Zoro fought against Ryuma at Thriller Bark. I remember the title of that episode was Slashes Dancing on the Rooftop, Zoro versus Ryuma, which is very dramatic and honestly one of the shorter episode titles, to be honest with you. But I can understand going into like Netflix and like a Western audience, maybe doing a different kind of naming scheme, and that's perfectly fine with me. So there you go. That's the One Piece news that we have for you today. Okay, so yeah, what did you all think about that? I don't know. I think the biggest part of information, I mean, obviously the biggest piece of information here is the One Piece seasonal change. But really, like, considering all the breaks we've had, and then you got to factor in all the recap episodes, I don't think this is going to be much of a difference. I saw somebody comparing the amount of episodes that they're going to be giving us a year, 26, to the amount that we got now in 2025. It was only like a 5 or 6 episode difference. Like, it wasn't even that big of a deal, really. Yeah, if you just take the canon episodes that we were getting, it's really not going to be that much of a difference. And like a little bit of a break in the year. Like, I don't know how they're going to do it exactly. Like, maybe in spring we get 13 episodes, and then summer we take a break, and then fall we come back with another 13 episodes. However they want to do it, I'm perfectly okay with that. And I think it's something that honestly the One Piece anime should have done like a while ago, but hey, better late than never, right? Here we are. But yeah, we got that. We got the character designs. We got volume 113 coming out, so that's going to be an SBS video. There's a chapter this week and no break next week, so that's another piece of information. So we're going to have like back-to-back chapters here, really good, plus the chapter film is 3 in a row. That's pretty good. Probably going to get a break after following week, so it's 1164 this week, and then 1165 next week, and then after that, most likely going to be a break, getting into the later part of the year. Halloween's coming up, so I hope you have a really good Halloween. If I don't see you before then, I'll probably do the review. I have a costume I'm going to wear for the next review, a costume I kind of just cobbled together that's not really based on anything. I'm going to be the Fire Wizard. So that'll be fun. I'm excited about that. But yeah, that's the video. Hope you all enjoyed. Oh, I also have, that's another big thing. I also have a big Halloween video that I am in the process of editing right now that I was working on it a few hours yesterday. I'm not even halfway through the whole thing, but it's going to be fun. It's a huge project, but I really hope you like it. I'm aiming to get it out on Halloween, so on Friday. It'll be out at some point. I think I should be able to get it done by then. I have to do some reshoots with it, so a lot of other stuff going on this week, but if I get it out in time, that's great. It might not be out until like November 1st or November 2nd, but I'm really going to try to get it out on Halloween, and so I hope you have fun with that. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Teching 101, and these two choppers signing out. Later, everybody. Does anybody want a chopper? I don't need this many choppers.